Hello, everyone. Good evening. We are here today for case number 9636, which is in the matter of the application of Baltimore Gas and Electric Company for a certificate of public convenience and necessity for the Five Forks to Maryland/Pennsylvania border transmission line reliability project. Today is Tuesday, September the 22nd, 2020. It's a little bit after 7 o'clock in the evening. We're here today for an evening public comment hearing in order to hear any comments that we may receive from the public. I was advised that at least one or two people wanted to speak this evening. So I'll state that the purpose of this hearing is twofold. First, it's for the parties to give the public a little bit of information about the project and about your roles in this litigation. And the second purpose is for us to hear from the public. So we'll start with introducing the parties, and we'll start with staff.
Good evening, Your Honor. Kenneth Albert on behalf of staff. Staff has prepared testimony and filed testimony in this case on a proposed project, and staff will be participating throughout the remainder of this proceeding.
Okay, and that is the staff of the Maryland Public Service Commission. I would ask for the Office of People's Counsel to introduce themselves and give a brief overview of your role in this proceeding, please. I'll turn it over to Mr. Alexander.
Your Honor, his volume might not be working. I don't think Mr. Sadinsky's is either. So that might be the problem.
I see Mr. Alexander putting on headphones. Can you hear me, Mr. Alexander?
Yes, I can.
Mr. Alexander, will you introduce yourself and tell the folks that may be listening what it is that the Office of People's Counsel does, please?
Oh, okay. I am Gary L. Alexander. I am an assistant People's Counsel with the Office of People's Counsel. And by statute, the Office of People's Counsel represents all residential utility ratepayers in Maryland. Our goal is to examine regulated utilities such as BGE, their applications, say for a rate increase, and in this case for a certificate of public convenience and necessity. And if we see something that puzzles us, we hire experts outside, and they help us examine it. And if we still have a problem, our experts file testimony in the case. And then if it goes to an evidentiary hearing, which is basically an administrative trial, we put on these witnesses. We cross-examine the companies and staffs and any other parties' witnesses. And then we all write a post-hearing brief, which can be up to 60 pages. And then there'll be a reply brief. And after that, the case goes to the administrative law judge, which in this instance is Judge Grace. And she will write what is usually a lengthy opinion deciding the case. And then if any party, including the OPC, objects, there is a right to appeal to the full commission. So basically, we look out for the interest of anybody who lives in a house in Maryland and pays utility bills.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander. Ms. McLemore, would you like to introduce yourself and say what your client does?
Good evening, Your Honor. My name is Sandra McLemore. I'm an Assistant Attorney General, and I represent the Power Plant Research Program of the Department of Natural Resources. And the PPRP is involved in the CPCN cases. We review the applications in coordination with reviewing state agencies, which include 7 executive agencies, such as the Maryland Department of the Environment, the Maryland Department of Natural Resources, Maryland Energy Administration, commerce, planning, and a few others. And we review that case and provide the commission with a report concerning their socioeconomic and environmental impacts.
Thank you. And now I'll ask the attorney for the applicant to give a brief overview of the project. Mr. Herson.
Good evening, Your Honor, and members of the public. My name is Daniel Herson. I'm an Assistant General Counsel at Baltimore Gas and Electric Company. That's a fancy title for I'm a lawyer that's an employee of the company and works within the company. BGE has filed an application with the Maryland Public Service Commission for a Certificate of Public Convenience and Necessity, or a CPCN, to rebuild an existing 115 kV dual circuit electric transmission line that runs between BGE's Five Forks substation in northern Hartford County, Maryland, northward to the Pennsylvania-Maryland border, where the line interconnects with Pennsylvania Power and Light Company's electric transmission system. The transmission line at issue in this matter is approximately 1.89 miles in length and is currently supported by 40 parallel steel lattice style structures. BGE is proposing to rebuild the line so that the new line will be supported by a single line of 12 steel monopole structures. BGE would remove the 40 parallel lattice style structures once the new line is completed and supported by the 12 monopole structures. Therefore, there would be an overall net reduction of 28 support structures on this line once construction is complete. BGE is seeking to rebuild this transmission line because reliability has been substandard. Most of the existing support structures are over 100 years old, and the wire conductors have been in service since the 1930s. As a result, BGE has had multiple outages of this line due to dropped wire splices and otherwise aging infrastructure. Additionally, the current wire configuration is not ideal for avian wildlife protection, and several bird electrocutions have occurred. The new wire configuration will have adequate clearances between wires to better protect wildlife, and the removal of the 40 lattice-style structures will reduce the risks of birds striking tower structures along the length of the transmission line. BGE estimates that construction for the rebuilt transmission line will span approximately 6 months, with several additional months required for full site restoration. BGE will not require the acquisition of any new real property rights for this project. All work will be completed on land that BGE already owns or has rights to access. BGE will not be performing any work within any designated wetlands, and BGE has applied for and received all other necessary state and local environment and site management permits for this project. BGE will be remediating and stabilizing any areas along the line where a tower foundation is removed to minimize any soil erosion. Finally, BGE has agreed with the relevant state agencies to put protocols and methods in place during construction to ensure the protection of any rare, threatened, or endangered plant or animal species. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Herson. We've now reached the portion of the hearing where we can hear from any members of the public that have comment either for or against the project or concerns that they would like to voice. Do we have any member of the public on this call at this time? We have Miss Diana Knowles on the call. Okay, well, folks, what I'm going to do is I was notified by at least one person that they had comment tonight, and that person is not currently on this call. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a brief recess. I'm going to make sure that that person received the invite to this hearing, and then I'll return at 7:15. It's 7:10 now. I'll return at 7:15. All right. Thank you very much. Welcome back, parties, and welcome some of the new folks who have logged into the call. Do we have any members of the public on this hearing at this time who wish to speak about the proposed project? Mr. Herson, we've had some folks join us. It looks like 3 folks have joined us. You did such a great job just now of going over the project. I was going to ask if you wouldn't mind doing that again.
Certainly. I will take a redo on that.
Mr. Herson is the attorney for the applicant, Baltimore Gas and Electric.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Daniel Herson, and I am an in-house counsel for Baltimore Gas and Electric Company. BGE has filed an application with the Maryland Public Service Commission for a Certificate of Public Convenience and Necessity, or CPCN, to rebuild an existing 115 kV dual circuit electric transmission line that runs between BGE's Five Forks substation in northern Harford County, Maryland, northward to the Maryland-Pennsylvania border, where the line interconnects with Pennsylvania Power and Light Company's electric transmission system. The transmission line at issue in this matter is approximately 1.89 miles in length and is currently supported by 40 parallel steel lattice-style structures. BGE is proposing to rebuild the line so that the new line will be supported by a single line of 12 steel monopole structures. BGE would remove the 40 parallel lattice-style structures once the new line is completed and supported by the 12 monopole structures. Therefore, there would be an overall net reduction of 28 support structures on this line once construction is complete. BGE is seeking to rebuild this transmission line because reliability has been substandard. Most of the existing support structures are over 100 years old, and the wire conductors have been in service since the 1930s. As a result, BGE has had multiple outages of this line due to dropped wire splices and otherwise aging infrastructure. Additionally, the current wire configuration is not ideal for an avian wildlife protection, and several bird electrocutions have occurred. The new wire configuration will have adequate clearances between wires to better protect wildlife, and the removal of the 40 lattice-style structures will reduce the risk of birds striking tower structures along the length of the transmission line. BGE estimates that construction for the rebuilt transmission line will span approximately 6 months, with several additional months required for full site restoration. BGE will not require the acquisition of any new real property rights for this project. All work will be completed on land that BGE already owns or has rights to access. BGE will not be performing any work within any designated wetlands, and BGE has applied for and received all other necessary state and local environment and site management permits for this project. BGE will be remediating and stabilizing any areas along the line where a tower foundation is removed to minimize any soil erosion. Finally, BGE has agreed with the relevant state agencies to put protocols and methods in place during construction to ensure the protection of any rare, threatened, or endangered plant or animal species. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll turn it back to you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Hurston. Also participating in this virtual hearing are members of the staff of the Maryland Public Service Commission, the Office of People's Counsel, and a attorney for the power plant research project. Maryland Energy Administration. I'm not sure which way to go with that. So at this point, it's the time of the hearing where it's our obligation and also our pleasure to hear from the public about any issues that you may have with the project, any questions you have about the project, or if you're for or against the project. All of the parties are here tonight to listen to members of the public if you have any comment on the proposed project. Are there any members of the project on the virtual hearing who would like to speak at this time? If so, you may unmute and just go ahead and speak. Is Ms. Knowles on the call? Ms. Knowles, I can see that you've unmuted. Did you have any comment about the project or anything to add tonight? You may be having technical difficulties. I see that Ms. Knowles' hand is raised, but I have an icon on her rectangle that says, due to low bandwidth or local computer conditions, video is not currently available. It also appears there's a call-in user whose number begins with 443699. Is that a member of the public?
Good evening, Your Honor. This is Bob Sinsky, Maryland DNR Public Power Plant Research Program. Just joining by phone since my computer is not cooperating.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Knowles, if you can hear me, it may work better. I'm not sure if we're having weather or not, but it may work better if you're able to call in, and there's a call-in number on your invite. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the parties to stick around for 5 more minutes while we try to figure out this issue. It's okay if the parties want to mute or go off of video, but I'm gonna hold the hearing open for about 5 more minutes so that we can hear from Ms. Knowles if she wants to give comment. Thank you.
Ah. I made it.
Is this Miss Knowles?
Yes, it is. How are you, Your Honor?
Good. I'm great. Let me see if we can, I told the folks of the parties about 5 minutes. So let's see if we can get them back on the line. I suspect they'll all be back at least by 7:28. At 7:26. Looks like we're waiting just on Mr. Person.
I've tried diligently to get online, and it's just not working. My internet is deteriorating, let's put it that way.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Were you able to hear the presentation put on by the attorney for Baltimore Gas and Electric Company?
Yes.
Okay. It looks like we have everyone here, and we have one member of the public, Miss Diana Knowles. Ms. Knowles, did you want to make comment on the proposed project for all of the parties to consider?
Yes. Foremost, I have worked diligently with Mr. Chambers to resolve the issue of the very large monopole that's going to be going up in the corner of the property, which is very close to my neighbor. We have worked with their engineering departments to possibly do a location at an additional pole. However, that would be more, in my view, having that second pole would be directly across from me versus more on a diagonal. But after looking, the Pennsylvania side has started installation of their side of the utility upgrade. And now, not looking out of my front yard, I get to see a large brown pole. But I'm also, when this one's installed, I'm going to be seeing a large brown pole. And they're fairly close together. This is going to, as I've discussed with them, I'm very concerned about the value of the property diminishing because of the location of these poles. I understand from talking with them that it is a large concern of the sagging of the lines. But with the distance of this Pennsylvania pole being right on the Maryland-Pennsylvania line, I don't see why this other tower couldn't be moved back more towards where the existing tower is, or them installing a pole directly across on the Maryland side at the very bottom, and then doing the same and running it up to the existing structure that's up top that's going to be replaced. We just don't want to see it in our backyards. My neighbor just bought his home last year, and I met him by discussing this matter. These homes exceed $500,000 in value. I am fully well aware that we've purchased properties. I've lived here for 23 years with an existing pole that's, 2 towers in our backyard, but we don't see them because they blend with the sky. They're more of a grayish tint. When you put this big yucky brown pole in our backyards, it's not the same. My neighbor and I both have also talked with, and I'm not as much of a concern because I am further away, but with regards to the EMF, that could be possible exposure. I do have a child that's 9 years old. I also do have 2 grandchildren that were living here, but they also visit. My son plans on continuing to live in this home and eventually raise his children one day here. So we are concerned that we know that the existing infrastructure is going to remain the same. However, being that it's being upgraded, we also have the concern down the road that there's going to be additional lines put on, which could potentially remit more EMF towards us. So we just wanted to see if there's any way that they could look at an additional solution of moving this pole back more towards the woods and kind of giving us more of a sense of security over here. Again, I am totally for upgrades. I understand that these towers are extremely old. I have worked with BGE. They have been phenomenal. But looking across the street, and I got to see a big brown ugly pole right there, and it's right there. I wish my video was up. I took pictures, and now I'm going to have another one. I have my son here full time, doing school. I'm working from home. My son is doing college studies. My internet has been shot for the last week. It's been extremely sketchy to where we're not even able to do a lot, so we're jumping on our hotspot. So I think that having the additional is also starting to affect us that way as well. It could be because everybody else is on the system, but it just seems ironic. We were doing fine, And now we're starting to have internet connection problems, and as such as this evening. And I'm the only one on the internet tonight, and I didn't even have good connection. So in addition to that, I hear it's going to start next summer. So that means my entire summer I'm going to be enjoying the commotion of the banging in the ground, like we've been waking up to, et cetera, too, like that. So I just didn't know what could be done, if this could be looked to where this could be potentially re-reviewed again, to not have these so close to our homes. I mean, it's within probably 200 feet of my neighbor's house, if that, maybe 100. I feel bad for the guy, but he's not able to join in on the call tonight. We can screen it. That's fantastic. We can screen the property line. That'd be wonderful. However, that defeats the purpose of, of open land up here. This was an open field. We all share the same hillside. We all communicate. It's family. I just kindly ask if they can relook at this one more time.
Yes, ma'am. Miss Knowles, you provided your address. I'm not going to read that, but I will provide your address to the parties so that they can take a look at the property line to see if they have any additional information that they want to make known in the case.
Right.
Okay.
Again, I do commend them, Your Honor. They have been fantastic. BGE has been wonderful to try to do the best they can.
Okay.
Just asking for one more review before this is finalized.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much for your participation tonight. I know that it was a little bit of a struggle at the beginning, but we really appreciate it when folks from the community weigh in on these types of matters.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have anyone else from public that wishes to comment? All right, with that, I will end the hearing. Thank you very much, everyone, for your participation. And Mr. Court Reporter, you can close the record.
We're off the record, Your Honor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor.